Hello children, let me welcome you to the virtual class of the Brihan Mumbai Mahanagar Palika. My name is Shraddha teacher. Children, we are in the middle of this COVID-19 pandemic, and because of that we are not able to go to school, but that doesn't mean we are going to stop learning. So we are going to do many lessons which are very interesting from your textbook through the virtual class here. So let us do a lesson in English today. So let us do a lesson, children, in standard 4th English today, and the name of the lesson is lesson number 27 from your English textbooks, and the name of the lesson is The Dreadful Guest. Now children, this is a very beautiful story about someone who is a guest but who is not invited. Okay, that guest is not someone whom you like coming to your house. And then we will also see how a brave warrior teaches this guest a lesson. So this guest is not a human guest, but as the story unfolds, you will see that this guest is a terrible fire-breathing dragon. Okay, now dragons are creatures which are a little imaginary because you might not see a dragon in real life. So a dragon is something which is like a mix of a dinosaur and some other animal, and it is supposed to be having magical powers. So you know that whenever you go to eat Chinese or whenever you go to have some kind of food which belongs to China, you will see on the carts a picture of a dragon. And most of the time the name of these Chinese eateries are also dragon related to dragons. So dragons are a very mystical creature or mysterious creature from China. Okay, so this is about the dragon. Now this dragon is a guest over here. So let us talk about guests in general today before we go to the lesson. So who's a guest, children? A guest is any person who comes to visit our house. So a guest can be a visitor, it could be a friend, it could be a relative. Okay, now whenever guests come to our house, we always welcome them with open arms and open hearts. And in India, we have the culture where we say that Atithi Devo Bhava. That means a guest is as good as God. So the way you respect God and the way you have love for God, in the same way you should love and respect your guests also. So that is the kind of culture that we have. Okay, and everywhere else also in the world, guests are treated with a lot of love and respect, and you will see that we have a lot of fun also. We enjoy it when guests come to our house, and we eat together, we have fun together with our guests. But the guests in this particular story is a dreadful guest. Okay, so look at the expression on these children's faces. So do they seem happy to see the guest? No, they do not seem very happy to see the guest. So the guest in this particular story is a little dreadful. Now what is the meaning of dreadful? So dreadful could mean scary, something which makes you scared. Okay, something which makes you afraid. So dreadful could mean scary. Dreadful could also mean frightening. Frightening means what? When you look at something and you get scared, you want to hide. Okay, you look out for your mother, you call for your mother, then it is frightening. And dreadful can also have one more meaning. Dreadful can be dangerous also. Not only frightening, but sometimes it could be dangerous also to us. Okay, so come on, let us look at the story of a dreadful guest. So what happened was, there was this country called Russia, and now Russia is here. Can you see Russia here? Yes. Okay, so in Russia there was a king. Alright, there was a king who ruled Russia, and one day he decided to hold a grand feast or a big party. He decided to throw a big party. Alright, so once upon a time, the king of Russia decided to hold a grand feast. Now, whenever you decide to hold a party, or when you decide to throw a party, what do? You invite people for the party, isn't it? So the king also decided that he is going to have a very, very grand feast, and he is going to invite a lot of people. So the king decided, or he planned, to have lots of delicious food for people to eat, and also he decided that he will give people a lot of gifts also in return. So he called many people, he invited many people for his party. For example, he invited princes, and he invited rich merchants, and many brave warriors, okay, and also all the important people who were there in his kingdom. He invited all of them for his party. Alright, and then on the day of the party, or on the night of the feast, the king and his guests and everyone who was invited, they came to the palace, and then they were very happy. They were talking and they were laughing. Why? Because whenever you're called to a party, you get to meet so many people, you get to play games, you get to eat nice things. So usually when you're invited to a party, you're all very happy. So in the same way, the princes, the rich merchants, the brave warriors, all the people who were invited to the party were very, very happy. And the king and the queen were also very happy, because now all the people had accepted their invitation and they had come for the party. So everything was going on very, very fine. And the king and his guests sat together at the long table in the banquet hall. So you can see how all of them are sitting at a long table in the banquet hall. Banquet hall means a place where you have your food. Alright, so the king and his guests, now they're sitting together in a banquet hall, and they're just waiting now for the people to come and serve the food, for the servants or the waiters to come and serve the food. Suddenly what happens is a huge animal burst into the hall. See? A huge animal. He just burst into the hall. Burst into means he entered the hall suddenly. And what must have happened as soon as a huge animal burst into the hall? And who was the animal? It was a horrible looking dragon. Can you see? It was horrible. And it was very, very scary also. That is why it was dreadful. Isn't it? And let us see how the dragon looked now. It was as tall as a tree. See how tall it is? How long it is? It was as tall as a tree, as broad as a house. Okay? And it had teeth like spikes. Spikes means big, big nails. Alright? And also it had claws which were like knives. So my God, this dragon was so dreadful. And it was so huge. And what did it do? It entered the king's party. No, he was not called by the king. Had the dragon been called by the king? No. But he was still a guest. So he was an uninvited, dreadful guest. And look at his skin. His skin was also hard and scaly. And you can see how his eyes were. See? His eyes were red colored eyes. And there were flames which were coming out of his mouth. So he was a very, very mean creature. Who's a mean person? A mean person is someone who's very selfish, someone who's very bad. Okay? So he was a very mean person. And what did he do? There were red hot flames also which were coming out from his mouth. Can you see how he was shooting flames from his mouth? Everyone stopped talking and everyone was scared now. And you can see one person has even fainted there. Alright? They were so scared when the dragon entered that one of the guests, she also fainted. Now what did the dragon do? He pushed himself between the king and the queen. So can you see? He pushed the king and the queen aside, and he sat right in the middle of the king and the queen. Now suddenly everyone was scared. No one wanted to open their mouth, but there was one person who was not scared, and that was Ivan the Brave. So he was a warrior. I told you, the king had invited many brave warriors. One of the brave warriors was named Ivan, and Ivan was not at all scared of the dragon. He said to the dragon, "What a rude, impolite creature you are," he said angrily. So, see, he did not get scared of the dragon. Instead, he scolded the dragon. He said, "What a rude and impolite creature you are. How dare you enter the king's party, and that also without any invitation?" But when he was saying this, the servants brought in the food and they set the platters on the table. Now, before they had a chance to serve the food, what did the dragon do? The dragon began to gobble up everything on the table. So, whatever was present on the table, the dragon started gobbling it up. What is the meaning of gobbling? I will show you at the end. Okay? But here you can understand what the meaning of gobbling is. So you eat, there is one way in which you eat, and then there is a way in which you gobble. So when you gobble, what do? You hurriedly, in a big hurry, like a person who's very, very, in Marathi or Hindi we say haurat. So you gather all the food and without any manners you start eating it. So in the same way, the dragon, who was dreadful, who was mean also, he started to gobble up everything on the table. And the king and the queen, they did not know what to do, because no one was able to stop the dragon. But then Ivan the Brave, he said again, "Nobody has taught you any manners, I can see." What did he tell the dragon? "No one has taught you any kind of manners. I hope you choke on the food you're gobbling up so greedily." What did he say? "I think you should choke." Choke means the food should get stuck in your throat and you should die because of that. Now the dragon was very angry. See, look at the dragon. Look how he is looking angrily at Ivan. And he said, "I dare you to come out and fight with me, Ivan. Are you ready?" So now he said, "Ivan, now you're talking too much. You're calling me greedy. You're saying that I'm gobbling. And you're saying that I should choke up on the food. So I dare you," means I challenge you to come and fight with me. And he says, "Are you ready?" Ivan is of course ready. And then the king starts scolding Ivan. The king says, "What have you done? Let the dragon stay. Let him eat. Let him go. After that we will have another party. You cannot fight the dragon. It will burn you and it will kill you." So this is what the king says to Ivan, because the king is very scared. Okay? But Ivan is not scared at all. Ivan says, "Come on, I'm ready to fight with you. Yes, I will dare to fight with you." And that way, Ivan and the dragon and all the other people who are present in the hall, they went out into the palace courtyard. So see, all of them, they went out into the palace courtyard, and the dragon and the brave warrior Ivan faced each other. So you can see they came out of the forest, out of the palace. The king did not want Ivan to risk his life, okay, for some food. But Ivan said, "Nothing doing. I am going to teach this dragon a lesson." And the dragon smiled looking at Ivan. Why? Because the dragon thought that I am so huge, I am dangerous, I can breathe fire. And then he said to Ivan, "Now, how shall I kill you, you silly fool?" He said, "Shall I burn you to death? Shall I smother you in flames? Or better still, shall I tear you up with my knife claws? Or shall I eat you up with my spike teeth?" So see, he is threatening Ivan. He is giving dhamkis to Ivan. He is saying, "Should I burn you to death? Or should I cover you in my flames? Or should I tear you up with my knife? Or should I eat you up with my teeth?" So he thought that Ivan will be very, very scared when he hears all this. But when he was saying all this, Ivan had thought of an idea to trick and kill this wicked creature. What did he say to the dragon? He folded his arms on his chest and he said, "Now look here, dragon. When you dared to fight me, I readily agreed. I thought it would be a fight just between the two of us." Then he pointed behind the dragon and he said, "Why have you brought a whole army to help you fight?" So what did Ivan do? He acted. Okay, many a times you may be physically very strong, but then if you are not smart enough, someone else will definitely trick and defeat you. So here Ivan also thought of tricking this creature because he was very, very strong, he was very, very huge, and he had some magical powers also. Okay, but Ivan was brave and he was smart as well. So let us see what Ivan did. Ivan told him that this is cheating. You have brought an whole army with you, and he pointed towards a place behind the dragon. Now the dragon was surprised as Ivan. He thought, "Arey, I did not call anyone." He turned back. What did he do? He turned his head to see what Ivan was pointing at. And Ivan quickly, what did Ivan do? He pulled out a sword and he cut off the dragon's head. So see, the dragon was stupid. Ivan knew that the dragon was very stupid. So the dragon was as stupid as Ivan thought him to be. He turned his head to see what Ivan was pointing at. See, he turned his head to look behind, and Ivan immediately drew his sword. What is the meaning of drawing his sword? Pulling his sword out of the place where they keep it. Okay, and he cut off the dragon's head, and there lay the dragon dead. And what did Ivan say? "There," he said, "we won't have to put up with this dreadful guest ever again." So you saw the story of the dreadful guest. Wasn't it a beautiful story? And what does it teach you? It teaches you to never be mean to others, to never go uninvited to anyone's house and create trouble for them. Alright? It also teaches us that we should not be scared. Okay? We should think smartly and we will be able to defeat any mean person. So this was a story of the dreadful guest, where we saw how a king had given a party to people and how people had come. They were great warriors, and suddenly the dragon pushed himself into the party. He entered the party. He intruded into the party. Okay? But Ivan the Brave tricked him and he killed him. So that was the end of the dreadful guest. Now, like we always do, children, let us try and do a few exercises. So in the textbook, if you open it, you will see that there are some exercises here related to meanings. Then there are some question and answers. So the question answers part, you can do it yourself. The meaning part and certain matching part, we will try and do it from the textbook. So let's go to the first exercise here. Guess or find the meaning of the following words and phrases. So which is the first word they're given us? It is spoil sport. So who is a spoil sport? A spoil sport is a person. So who is that person? A spoil sport is a person who behaves in a way that spoils others' pleasure, especially by not joining in an activity. Okay, so suppose you're having a party, and suppose you've gone out for a picnic, or you're having a sports event. Okay, and when everyone wants to have fun, there will be one person who behaves in such a way that everyone else gets disappointed. So that kind of a person is called as a spoil sport. Okay, then we have people who are impolite. So who are people who are not polite? Impolite means not polite. It could also mean rude. Okay, so what is the meaning of an impolite person? It is a rude person. So now who's a rude person, children? A rude person is a person who does not have any manners. Okay, he doesn't know how to speak, and they just go on saying whatever they feel like without considering about the feelings of others. Let's come to the next word that we have, and that is platters. So platters are very much like plates, but they are large. Okay, so what are platters? Platters are large type of dishware which are used for serving food. So we do not eat out of a platter. The platter is used for serving the food. We eat out of plates. Okay, and food is served on the platters. Alright, so that is the meaning of platters for you. What is the meaning of gobbling something or gobbling up something as written in the textbook? Gobbling means eating something hurriedly and noisily. See, look at this cartoon. He's gobbling up all the buns, okay, or all the burgers, you can say. And then the last meaning that we have is sprang. Now, sprang is an action here, as in jumping to his feet. So, who sprang to his feet? The dragon sprang to his feet. Now, look here. In this you can see the duck springing to his feet because the alarm rang. Okay, so these are some, you can say, meanings of the words or phrases which are given in the textbook. Let us go to the next exercise now, where we will do some matching. So match the pairs of words from A and B with reference to the story. So you have certain words written in column A and certain words written in column B. Now you can match it in any way you want. Okay, for example, you can say rich people, but they're asking us to match the words with reference to this particular story. So see, rich here goes with, yes, it goes with merchants. The king had invited the rich merchants to a party. Then you have silly. So who was silly? Who was silly? The fool was silly. And who was foolish? The dragon was foolish. Important. People. The king had invited many important people. And then you have mean. So who was mean here? The creature, that is a dragon, was mean here. Who was brave? All the warriors were brave. But who was the bravest? Yes, it was Ivan who was the bravest. And then the king had thrown a grand feast. Alright, so this is exercise 3 from your textbook about matching the pairs. Now let's go to the next one where we will punctuate certain sentences. So come on, let's punctuate the sentences which they've given us properly from the textbook. So the first sentence that they've given us is, what a rude, impolite creature you are. Now, if you take a look at the sentence, children, you will realize that there are no punctuation marks at all in this sentence. You will not be able to see a full stop or a comma or a question mark, or for that matter, even any capital letters also you're not able to see in this particular sentence. That means this particular sentence is not proper. It has not been punctuated properly. So then how do you punctuate a sentence? You punctuate a sentence by using the proper punctuation marks. So come on, let us try and use certain punctuation marks on this sentence to make it proper. So we will write the new punctuated and correct sentence like this. What a rude, impolite creature you are. So what have we done? We have used exactly the same words. See, what a rude, impolite creature you are. The same words exactly. But then the first sentence was wrong and this sentence is proper. So what all things have we added to it? Let us take a look. So we have added these set of marks which are called as double inverted commas. Okay, they are also called as quotation marks, but for now we will call them as double inverted commas. So whenever someone is saying something, whenever you're using the spoken words of a person, you always write it in between these double inverted commas. So this sentence, "What a rude, impolite creature you are," was said by Ivan. So we are writing exactly Ivan's words over here. That is why we are making use of the double inverted commas or quotation marks. Quotation marks means someone has said it and you are saying the sentence exactly in the same manner. You're quoting that person. That is why you're saying quotation marks. Let us look at the next change that we have made. We have added a W. That is, the W is the first letter of the first word in the sentence. So it should be written as capital letters or block letter. So whenever you write a sentence, you start writing a sentence, the first letter of the first word in that particular sentence should be capital. Okay? Then we have also added a comma there. Why? Because we are saying rude also and we are saying impolite also. That is why we added a comma there. Can you see a comma in red? Finally, we have also added a quotation mark, an exclamation mark towards the end of the sentence. Why have we added a quotation mark, exclamation mark over here and not a full stop? Because this sentence is said with a lot of, you can say, feeling. Okay, you're very angry and you're saying, "What a rude, impolite creature you are." So see the way you are saying it, you're exclaiming, you're saying it very strongly. That is why we have added an exclamation mark at the end of the sentence. If I were to say that you are a rude, impolite creature, then I would add a full stop there. Okay, but this is said with a lot of feeling, so that is why I have added an exclamation mark at the end of the sentence. Okay, so this is the way I have punctuated the first sentence. Now let's take the next example that they've given us. Are you ready? So the same way here. See, there is no capital, there are no commas, there is nothing here. So come on, let us also repair this sentence and let us punctuate it and make it proper. So the answer will be written like this. Are you ready? Okay, so again you will see the words are the same, but there are some changes that we have made to it. The first change that we have done again is we have added a pair of double inverted commas. Okay, what are they also called as? Yes, they're also called as quotation marks. And look at the A in the R. The A in the R has become capital. So the first letter of the first word in a sentence, we've written it as capital, and we have closed the sentence using a question mark this time. Why question mark? Because it is a question. Okay, exclamation mark it is written, it's a printing mistake. Read it as question mark. Alright, so this was the line about are you ready? So we have added double inverted commas, we have added a question mark, and also we have written A as capital. Let us move on and let us see one more interesting exercise which is there in this lesson. List all the comparisons you find in the story. So when you compare two things, what are we doing? We are trying to check out the qualities of two things. So one example they've given us, as tall as a tree. So suppose you want to say that someone is tall and someone is very tall, then what will you say? He is as tall as a tree. Now does it mean that that person is really as tall as a tree? No, but we just want to show that he is very tall. Okay, so when you compare things, you make use of the word as. So this is one example. So let us try and find out some examples now from the textbook. So see, there is one more example here which says as broad as a house. So children, we never say broad for a house, we say big, but here the word which is used is broad. So broad here means big. So see, this house is big, isn't it? its size is very big. So we say as broad as a house. Then we have some more comparisons here. For example, we have said teeth like spikes and claws like knives. So the dragon's teeth, they were like spikes, big needles or big nails, and his claws, they were like knives. They were very sharp. Knives are very sharp, isn't it? So in the same way, the claws of the dragon were very, very sharp indeed. So see, what have we used? Which words have we used here? We have used words like as, and in this picture we have used words like. So to compare two things, we make use of words like as or like. Alright children, so this was a very, very interesting story which we enjoyed a lot. After enjoying the story, then we looked at certain exercises where we saw the meanings of certain things. We matched certain things with each other. Okay, certain words we matched them with each other as per the reference with the lesson. And then we also did some small exercises, one on comparison and the other one on punctuation. So this was all in this lesson children, lesson number 27, the dreadful guest. So we'll meet very soon for another lesson in English. Till then, goodbye, thank you and take care. So children, now you have watched the video. So after you watch the video now, you will have to complete a few simple tasks. Now you might have watched the video on your computers or your laptops or your mobile phones. Now after you watch the video, what will you do? You will please go to the description box which is given below the video. So what is the description box? See, the description box looks like this. Alright, and after you go to the description box, you will see that there are a few questions there. Now what are these questions about? These questions are about the lesson that we just learned or the video that you just watched. So what will you do? You will think back properly about the lesson and you will try and answer these questions and note down the answers in your notebook if you want. Okay? After that, we have another task waiting. You will also click on the link which you will find in the description box to fill up the Google form. So now what is the Google form children? It is nothing but a simple form. There are a few simple questions there about the video which you just saw and also about yourself. So these are the tasks now that you will have to complete after you watch each video. So children, wasn't that a very interesting lesson? I'm sure you learnt a lot of new things in this lesson. If you have liked this video, please hit the like button and also subscribe to my video so that you will get to see all the videos which I keep posting regularly.